Time marches on. The months blow past in a whirlwind of change, and yet there's one undeniable constant. More games keep releasing on Steam. But we're not just talking about any games today. No, we're talking about immersive sims, the box-stacking, code-cracking, vent-crawling, body-hauling genre that defies definition. And since AAA studios no longer feel the need to bring a light to those darkened hallways, it once again falls to indie developers to pick up the torch. It's been a minute since I last put one of these together. Wait, friggin' January? Eesh. But there's a lot of good stuff to talk about between here and there. If you'd like to join our supporters and help keep this toasty bonfire roaring in the Hero's Tavern, I'll tell you how you can get your own seat at the table later in the video. But for now, let's take a look at some small devs that are saving immersive sims. Again. Our first entry takes us into the dark, far-off future of 2020. DataJack 2020. This charmingly retro low-poly dystopia is all about sneaking into office buildings to rip off corporate data, or when that fails, cause as much trouble as possible. You play as this little pixel art rendition of an edgy trench-coated weirdo straight out of Grandma's Boy in this hybrid of 2D and 3D action. Unfortunately, there's no playable demo or early access build to goof around in just yet, but from what we've seen so far, stealth elements and breaking and entering are both central to the DataJack 2020 experience. The trailers show off some of the game's inevitable vent crawling, and busting into locked gates and security measures involves clever minigames that use your trusty laptop and a set of hand tools. Gotta love the way the little wires dangle off this camera as you cripple its motor. You can freely swap between the isometric overhead view to an over-the-shoulder third-person angle if you need to view the action up close and personal, or if you just need to line up that vital bazooka shot. Destructible environments create new possibilities for escape and avenues to traverse, and the game is filled with chaotic firefights. Beyond this, you'll deal with a variety of grimy characters to take on missions, heal up at illegal street docks, trade for lethal hardware, and explore a dreary, neon-tinted cityscape. The Steam page also brags about immersive systems, advanced enemy AI, and even the ability to talk your way out of bad situations. DataJack 2020 hints at a lot of imsimmy goodness, and I've been looking forward to experiencing its brand of cyberpunk pixely charm for a long, long while. NoirMancer is the next game that recently slipped into our inbox, and it takes stealth action and corporate espionage in a decidedly different direction. In this noir-flavored tale of mystic abilities and rampant greed, you don't just need to evade and dispatch enemies. You'll also have to erase any memory of your passing. How? Well, that's easy. A mystical finger snap renders your foes immobile until you can deliver your special brand of magic amnesia. But that's not the only tool you'll have at your disposal. Your beloved cat burglar will also have the ability to turn into gas, float through the air, throw goo on the carpet, and hide under tables. The trailer doesn't show off your entire bag of tricks, but apparently there's 9 superpowers to use during your jazz-fueled journey through the campaign. Think of it as something like Dishonored, but with more trumpets. Keeping in line with the game's themes, NoirMancer is playing it pretty close to the vest right now. There's no demo yet, and very little gameplay footage to speak of at this time, but I'm hoping we get to see more of it very soon. Let's move on to a few imsims that have finally hit early access. You'd never know that STYGIAN Outer Gods was a sequel to an obscure RPG at first glance, but this immersive first-person horror game shares the same universe as STYGIAN Reign of the Old Ones, back from 2019. This outing from Mysterial Games chooses a more limited scope, while still retaining some of its RPG trappings such as branching dialogues, quest systems, and Lovecraftian influences. This is where the similarities end. Outer Gods is more in line with the later Resident Evil games, namely RE7 and RE8, and cultivates a familiar, deliberate, chilling pace.
Where in the hell have I washed up?
There's a creepy coastal village, zombie dogs, and the lurking fear of tentacle monsters around every corner. And these monsters are tough. It's just as likely that they'll turn you into Hamburger Helper in a one-on-one fight. We do run into some box chucking, stealth, and multiple paths of egress, even in the game's unfinished state. A skill tree, crafting, item management, branching dialogue trees, a ton of immersive first-person animations, and other familiar survival horror staples help round out this early access dive into the depths of Lovecraftian horror. Every game needs a crusty old pipe-smoking dude that dispenses mystery lore. And hey, good news! We got one of those right here. Stygian Outer Gods is off to an excellent start, and recent patches address several of the main complaints, namely the performance issues. It'll be interesting to see which Elder God pops out of a cake in the ending once this game is finally finished. Perpetual R defies description. It's part detective sim, part first-person shooter, and part, Gundam simulator. This game places you in the role of a law officer and V-Stalker mech pilot in an open-world sandbox. If you look past the blocky graphics, eye-piercing palette, and MS Paint interface, you'll find a huge environment to explore with plenty of mysteries to uncover and strange people to meet.
Can you help me?
This is the second effort from solo dev Consumer Soft Products, and a promising follow-up to their first surrealist ImSim, Cruelty Squad. Fans of the opaque mechanics, high difficulty curve, and layered secrets of the first game will find a lot to like in Perpetual R, as long as they're willing to dish out a high ticket price for an unfinished product. For the uninitiated, just be forewarned. Handholding is not a word this game ever gets cozy with. If you prefer your vent crawler to be filled with twitchy first-person fights and split-second katana parries, Fortune's Run has all that going for it and more. Slap on the goggles of a bounty hunter out for revenge after being violated by a ring of human trafficking aliens. Yeah, there's some pretty grim subject matter here, but step through these airlock doors and you'll find a fast and frantic shooter with a complex damage system, lethal tactical combat, and tangled levels filled with secrets and alternate paths. And vents. Lots of vents. The space station environments you'll be dashing through are all incredibly detailed and interactive. Even something as simple as a door control has an extra tactile touch, and if the action gets too fast and heavy, you can usually slow down to chat up many of the galaxy's weird inhabitants, sometimes getting some useful hints in the process. Fortune's Run also has the dubious honor of being the first game I've ever covered that is likely to be in perpetual early access, due to the fact that one of the lead developers had major surgery recently and the other one had to go to prison before the game could be finished. Yep, that's real. Look it up. So now we move over to fully released ImSims that you might have missed. Blood West is a rootin', tootin', undead cowboy shootin' immersive Wild West simulator from Hyperstrange. And it came out way back in 2023 already. Whew. Anyway, Blood West is a stealth-heavy story-driven game that takes place in a semi-open world filled with hordes of demons and cursed undead that refuse to, well, stay dead. You'll be building relationships with the strange denizens of the West, bonking zombies over the head, battling eldritch horrors, and crawling all over huge, non-linear maps in order to hone your gunslinger's skills and find the answers about your curse of unlife. I've only spent a couple hours tramping through the game's dusty deserts and forgotten mine shafts, but somewhere along the way, a huge DLC called Dead Man's Promise also slipped past in the year-end's crowded release schedule. This one starts off by dropping you into a gnarly swamp and flopping a bunch of magic weapons into your lap. All this together brings the total playtime of the whole package up to a 20 to 40 hour runtime, depending on how much of a completionist you might be. The devs are also far from leaving Blood West behind. It recently received a big Steam Deck friendly overhaul, a codex, and some accessibility features. It's not as box stacky or system reliant as the other games on this list, but if you're looking for a spooky good time filled with 6 shooters, hungry demons, and unholy magic, it's really hard to go wrong here. If you want your ImSims filled with less zombies and more cute little kitty cats, well, this one has you covered. Skin Deep is a recent release from Blendo Games that puts you in the jumpsuit of an insurance agent. Except by agent, they mean commando. You spend weeks in cryostasis and only wake up when your client's ship gets raided by pirates. At this point, you step out into the ship's narrow corridors to take down the threat and free the sentient kitties that comprise the crew. But there's a few problems. As an insurance commando, you have a couple cybernetic implants up your sleeve, but other than that, you're all jumpsuit and guts. No guns. You don't even have any shoes. Freeing the ships from the pirate threat involves stunning or otherwise incapacitating them before flushing their disembodied heads into space.
Enjoy the ride, Bojo!
You'll need to use everything at hand as a weapon in true commando fashion. Banana peels, boxed spices, leaky conduits, all of these become part of your arsenal. The game's tone is lighthearted and goofy, and the allure of turning a series of finely crafted spaceships into pirate death traps is really compelling. We've recently gotten our review keys for Skin Deep, so a full deep dive review is on the way for this one. Keep an eyeball out for that in the future.
You hear?
Last on the list was a game that actually came to me as a complete surprise. Now, ATOMFALL might not check every traditional ImSim box, and Rebellion Studios might not exactly fit the definition of a small dev, more of a single-A developer kind of situation there. But either way, this game definitely meets enough criteria to make it worthy of a mention. You wake up with no memory inside of an anomaly zone that was cordoned off after a disaster at a nuclear plant. Yep, this basically is the plot of Stalker. But no, this is not a sequel to Stalker. Y'all realize we got one of those already, huh? Hey, maybe I should play it. Anyways, this particular nuclear disaster took place in an alternate 1960s Northern England. Either way, you're stuck inside the zone and you gotta find a way out. You'll be fighting off hordes of Clockwork Orange rejects, big stompy robots, and blueberry-flavored zombies as you creep through the abandoned vaults and military labs in search of answers. You'll form bonds with the realm's quirky and overly British residents along the way, and if you're lucky, you'll uncover the dark secret of the Windscale facility as you make the important choices that might just change the anomaly zone's fate. There's tense gunfights, deadly traps, and delightful tea around every single corner. Plus, you get the fun ability to chuck your cricket bat at a bandit's head, just like a Viking. The whole time I was playing through ATOMFALL, I kept asking myself, wait a minute, is this an immersive sim? And if you've had the same question, maybe we'll make a full video exploring that as well. You know what, we probably will. It's a terrific time in jolly old England either way, and it definitely deserves a look. Okay, that wraps it up for one more round of delightfully deep ImSims from small teams. I know the list is a little late, mainly because so many wonderful games have been hopping across our wish lists and dumping into our emails lately. I'm sure I missed a couple, so let me know about the ones that you love down in the comments. And as always, a big thanks to our courageous champions that support us in the Heroes Tavern. Jump on over to our newly revamped Patreon to get a seat around this cozy fire for as little as $1 and gain ad-free early access to videos, extra content, meaning more videos, scripts, notes, special Discord roles, and special shoutouts in the credits, just like these brave tavern goers. Wolfgang Bristol, Adam Uselman, Jaduzable, Yaroslav Rybaki, Jim DiFrancesco, Vulpes, Cameron Frament, John Williams, Mirek Hotovi, San Lunette, Thorben Pelzer, and everyone else. We hope to see some more of your faces around this mead-soaked table in the future. If you find yourself short this month, you can still help us by subscribing, liking the video, dropping some juicy nuggets of wisdom in the comments, and sharing our delightful channel with your favorite cube kittens. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next Two-Headed Hero.